Okay, Charles John was an English writer. He created some of the best no-fictional characters in the world, and so he is considered one of the best novelists of the Victorian era. So his book enjoyed present popularity during his lifetime, and in the 20th century, critics and scholars recognize Dickens as a literary genius. His novel and short story remain among the most we will read today and are regularly adapted for the stage. So, A Christmas Carol translates into English as A Christmas Carol is a short novel written by British Charles Dickens and original published by Chapman and Hall on December 19 of 1843. It plots tell the history of the minstrel and selfish man named Ebenezer Scrooge and his conversion of being visited by a series of ghosts of Christmas Eve. Okay, right now with the argument, Ebenezer Scrooge begin the Christmas holiday with his meanness showing as employee and his cheerful nephew Fred. So shortly after he meets Jacob Marley, the ghost of his partner and friend, who is now paying the price of for his greed in the afterlife. Marley tries to make sure Scrooge doesn't suffer the same fate and announces him the visit of three spirits: the ghost of the Christmas past, the ghost of the present and the future, accompanying Scrooge on a journey that will open his eyes and reveal those truth he doesn't want to know. So he must then open his heart to on the years of evil before it's too late. So the characters of the history are Ebenezer Scrooge, Fred, Jacob Marley, both Cratchit, teen ghosts of the Christmas past, present, and future. Okay, now narrative structure. Sorry, the structure is divided into three parts. Okay, the preface, which narrates how Scrooge is shown to be an old miser who doesn't celebrate Christmas. Okay, the spirit, one of the past. The one of the past showed Scrooge before he was miserly and apathetic. So sorry about Christmas, contrasting between the long lines of the childhood and the romantic joy of his youth. 2. The present. He tells how Christmas is celebrated in his country, his family, and that of his employee, Cratchit, who is very happy. So, as well as the two children. And the third, the future. It presents the tragedy of Scrooge Ring and the television and the vision of the grave. The conclusion, which narrated Scrooge changes as he celebrates Christmas with joy and merriment. So, stylistic resource. They can use language to provide a better introduction to the story and to present entertainment, character, and essence. He used a strong narrative voice that comment on the character as he tells the history. The narrator, through own has opinion about Scrooge and his history. In conclusion, A Christmas Carol teaches us the importance of ethics and ethics as a good element which is born from oneself, from a fully personal decision, not from the coercion of others. It is so to speak as task for one's own. And this is all for For my part, teacher, this is the explication of the analysis of the Christmas Carol, a Christmas Carol history, and this is all. Have a good day, teacher.
In this video, we'll try to explain a little bit about the plot that we developed on the last class. The plot of the story, A Christmas Carol. First of all, I'm going to talk about the position that include protagonists, antagonists, time, place, internal and external conflict. First of all, the protagonist, as all we know, is Ebenezer Scrooge, and the antagonist is the personality of Ebenezer Scrooge. The time is on Christmas Eve at Victorian era, and the place is on London, England. Now I'm going to talk about the recent action, some of the points of recent action, because there are a lot. First of all, the beginning of the story starts, or the most important part of the beginning of the story is when Scrooge sees Jacob Marley ghost, and he's warned that he will be haunted by three ghosts. Is the beginning, is the first part of the story. This part is so important because then we notice, or we focus on the ghost that will be appear during all the story. Then we have the appear of the Christmas ghost. So then the ghost of Christmas present appears and takes Scrooge to see what he is missing out on. It's something important because it's when we know the most, for me, the most important ghost into this story. Also, the ghost of Christmas yet to come appears to show Scrooge what will happen if he doesn't change. That is important because it's important to mention because Scrooge will be noticed about the bad things that will happen to him if he doesn't change. So from then is when he starts to change. And then we have the part of falling action. He has the boy outside in his house and go to buy the crisis, the huge turkey. Then Scrooge has changed to enjoy the Christmas season and visits the nephew's party. It's something important because we see a new Scrooge. And then Scrooge creates a good bond with the crisis, and Tiny Tim does not change. I forgot to mention the climax. So the climax of the story is when Scrooge sees his own grave. The climax comes at the end of the Scrooge journey with the three ghosts. The climax is when Scrooge tries to start to change. And then we have, for example, the symbolism, the ghost of Christmas past, shining how right is like a representation of Ebenezer's memories. So the ghost represents like the other personality, or the memories of Ebenezer Scrooge represents. Thank you.